like money wise or something else. But I could see something, yes, there is something special in this therapy. And if you have a very good diagnosis, then you can give really such miraculous results to your patients. If patients can really heal very quickly. So I congratulate all of you also who has interest, who has shown so much interest in acupuncture, in studying it. And because this therapy is not that popular in India, but still it is in a growing phase, and you are all the very lucky ones who have come into this studying this therapy itself. And but the most important question is why you should study acupuncture. This is what I came to my mind. So let me explain you why it is different from allopathy, why I chose it. So I came across a thing that, see, there are 6 stages of a disease, okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now your doctor prescribe, you go to an allopathic doctor, he'll prescribe you MRI or blood reports and some investigations. Okay, so any investigation by allopathic method is you can detect the disease either at the end of the 4th stage or at the beginning of the 5th stage. So just tell me whether is it a very good approach or is a very early stage to detect. It's almost at the end. So on the contrary, in acupuncture, we can detect it at the stage 1 itself. Suppose someone is getting into stress, and an acupuncturist can detect it through the pulse changes. They are so subtle. If you are good at it, you can detect it, and you can put a single needle and you can get a very good result. So this is all what fascinated me about because if you can detect a disease at a very early stage, there is no cancer and AIDS. These are like diabetes at a very chronic stage, taking insulin. These comes at a very late stage of a disease. So if you can uh, just detect the disease at the right stage, and you give the treatment, the disease can be cured. You must have heard prevention is better than cure. So it's like a prevention, you can say also. So it's like a prevention, but that's acupuncture has its own role in the treatment and diagnosis. So in I was talking about that stage 4 and 5, you are getting detected. So let me give an example what happens actually. Suppose you must have heard about those patients, those who say that my liver is 70% damaged, but my liver reports are normal. Or you must have heard that the patients that a patient visit to a allopathic doctor, and patient says, I am feeling some issue, so doctor prescribe a test to it, and reports are normal. So it doesn't mean that patient is not normal, is normal. That doesn't mean that. It simply means that the disease has not reached a certain stage, and that's why it's getting undetected in all the investigations. And here is the role where acupuncturist can have, because I see patients at my clinic. Most of them come to me at this stage itself. The reports are normal, but they still have the problem and they want to get treated, because nobody in the world wants to go to a doctor for just some fun. Okay, so patient never say, uh, he's always, whatever he's saying is saying true. So you have to understand what patient is saying, and this is the subtleness in the diagnosis of acupuncture, that each and everything what patient says will give you some clue about the diagnosis itself, which is missed, I think, in allopathic part. They stress more on the reports. If it is positive, it's yes, they'll treat you. If it's negative, they won't treat you. So today what I'm going to tell you is about the yin yang theory. And why I've chosen this topic, because you will come to understand after studying it, you have an idea that the patient which is coming to your clinic is at what stage it's at exactly. Is he at the stage 1 or 2 or 3? And if you can see, if you can just come to know or get an idea about at what stage of the disease he is, so you can easily decide the treatment, whether to tonify or sedate or whatever, give moxa or cupping, whatever. So this is a very basis of the start of the treatment. Okay, the diagnosis always comes first, because in allopathic school, in allopathic colleges and medical colleges, how I studied was, first we study the physiology, the normal functioning of the body. Then we study the pathology, how the disease, in the disease, what changes does occurs in what are the how the body reacts to a disease. Then comes the diagnosis part, that how to diagnose, what are the various investigations, and then comes the treatment part. But I see most of the people are most interested in the points only. People are more focusing on points. Yes, points are important, definitely important. But let me tell you, if your diagnosis is correct, if you put very few points also, then the results are possible, and you can achieve really miraculous results. So this is the way to study actually. So I want to all of you, I would like all of you to follow this path itself. So now I'll be coming to the topic. My topic is yin yang theory. So just a minute, I'll share my screen. So yes, let me start it. Yeah. So this is just a minute. Yes. So in this, we'll be studying it in two parts. I hope my screen is visible. Okay. So,
yes, sir.
So we'll be studying this topic in two parts. First of all, we'll study how yin yang came into existence, or how it's found in nature. And then we'll study how it is how this theory is applied in the medicine part, or how we see it as in body, and how we can apply clinically, how we can make use of it. Okay, so let's go to next slide. So I have made this slide specially because this is like narrowing down of the whole content itself. So if you just understand these two things, the whole topic is clear, will be clear to you. Just everything is going around these two things only. So I would like to just explain these things. These are most important part, and if you get an essence of it, just try to take the essence out of it, what I am trying to say, and you will get a very good idea how to approach. I'm not saying you will be like master, but you will get an idea how to approach to a patient. Okay. So nothing is absolute. Everything in the universe we see is relative. So how it is? Let me give you an example. Universe is ever expanding. You must have heard about it. And expanding, if it is expanding, means it is moving. So anything which you see around you, the other planets, stars, or whatever it is, everything is moving and it's not stationary. So whatever you are saying is, when it is moving, so it becomes a relative. Suppose you are on a bike at 40 kilometers per hour, and the other person with 50 kilometers per hour. So you will feel that he is only at 10 kilometers per hour speed extra. Okay. But the one who is standing on the road will feel that you are riding the bike at 40 kilometers per hour and the other one at 50 kilometers per hour. So the situation, so the relativeness, if that is changed, the things get changed. Let me give you a further simple example for this. Suppose you take two buckets of water, one with 10 degree centigrade of water and the other with 40 degree centigrade. Put your one hand, left hand in 10 degrees and the right hand in 40 degrees of water for a minute. Now you take a third bucket with 25 degrees of centigrade of water, and now you put both the hands in that bucket. So what will happen? So the hand which is at 10 degree will feel warmer now. Why? Because earlier it was at 10 degrees and now it is in 25 degrees. So that is comparatively warmer. So your hand will warmer. And the hand at 40 degrees centigrade will feel cooler because 25 degrees is a lower temperature. So again, hot and cold, you see, is a relative term. Long and short, hot and cold, these all are the relative terms. Nothing is absolute except God. Okay. Apart from zero, nothing is absolute. Everything is relative. So yin yang is also relative term. It's not absolute. Something you say is yin can be yang. If the relativeness, if you see it in the other perspective, so that can become yang as well. Now, the other thing which I want to explain is the change is the only constant. So this is like most of you must be agreeing with me, because every time there is some change is happening around you, and it is the only thing which is happening. It is the only thing which will happen again, which will happen again and again and again. And that is why it is the only constant. Nothing is stationary in this. And this happens because there is a presence of yin and yang. So yin and yang, I'll tell you how this change is happening in the next slides. You will be able to understand. So just keep this basic, try to take this essence and keep an eye, just take the basics of it and keep, don't just get into slides. I'll give you everything, but it's very important to take the essence out of me. Okay. So we'll see the symbols now. So how did the concept of yin yang came to these Chinese people or some people in India or anywhere in the world? So what happened is they saw the hill, and the hill has the two parts. One is the shady part, the other is the light part on which the sunlight is there. So they saw the two different things. Okay. So they observed also that there is day and night. So day have the light, the night have the dark part. So they related with these things. So day becomes, so one is yang and they give a term. So yang is the sun which is over the horizon. So sun is there. And you see the symbol itself, say it's a hill along with the cloud. So cloud is like no sun is there. So it's darkness. This is what they want to say. So in the daytime, you do some work. In the night, you take some rest. And that is how the things have developed. This theory has developed. And it is just by observation itself, people have made this theory. Okay, so let's take this chart. So just a minute. Okay, so light and darkness. The light is again yang, the yin is the dark part of the hill. Sun is there, of course, brightness. Sun is, if sun is there, there is brightness. And in the daytime, you do some activity. You are active in the day, you take sleep at night. And the other is, now here comes the confusion. So how heaven is there? So heaven is, the people live on earth, so they know earth, and heaven is above. Okay, heaven is above where there is sun and stars are there. So it is above. So they took it as yang, and they are on earth, which is at the lower level. So that is earth. So why heaven, why round is yang? Okay. So what happened that uh, the sun is round. Okay, they saw the sky, it saw them round, and that's why they related everything to sun, and that is uh, why the round is considered to be yang. And they considered flat as yin. Why? Because earth seemed to be flat earlier. Now you have all the technologies and satellite, you can have a view, but earlier the people uh, they used to see the fields as a flat, earth as a flat surface, so they considered everything as the flat surface as yin. Now time is considered yang, because all the, you go to astrology now, so the calendar or anything which is related to calendar time, so calendar is related to, in astrology we see like stars and moon and sun, so which is there in heaven, like which is there in sky. So anything in sky and where there is sun is anything related to it, it is yang. And space is again like we see the fields, how much space is there, how long field is there, so they took space as yin. Now why east is yang? Because sun rises in the east and it sets in west. So if it is setting, the night is coming, and that is why it is yin. Now this is one is interesting, because south is considered as yang. Now there are 2-3 things, because in Chinese in China they used to calibrate their compass while taking the direction, the south direction. And earlier the kings used to face the people, they used to face south direction. And the third thing, the reason is, then in our Vastu itself, Indian Vastu itself, the south is considered to be the hottest part, and north is considered to be the place from where water should get in. So as water and heat, again the heat part, the hot part is considered as south, as yang, and the water is considered as yin. So north is considered as yin. The next is left and right. So as I told you, the kings used to sit facing south towards the people. So their left hand automatically faced the east direction, and the right hand faced the west direction. Okay, just you can also do the same thing. Just observe it. So anything which is at east side or where the sun rises is yang. Now this is interesting. I'm going to tell you this. I have not written it. You can write it out. That in west and north, okay, in west and north, as you can see, there is deficiency of heaven. That is, there is a deficiency of yang. It means, so next thing what I want to say is hence the left ears and eye see and hear better than the right. It's a bit confusing. Let me make it very simple. So west and north are considered yin. Okay, so it means they have less yang, but the left is considered as yang, so comparatively they have more yang, so they can see better. And because why they can see better? Because eyes and ears are in the top of part of the body, because they are up on the up part of the body, so up part is considered as yang, so they have more yang, and that is why comparatively they can see better, they have more power. That's a very general thing. I'm not saying everyone one must be having it, but that is a general thing which I'm discussing. Now this you can correlate easily. Now just write it down. In east and south there is a deficiency of earth, hence right hand and foot are stronger than left. Most of us are right-handed, and we feel that our right part of the body is more stronger. Why it is there? Because in east, which is yang, and south, which is yang, so there is deficiency of earth, which is yin. That's true. So right is right is yin. So yin is for the strength, earth. Earth is for strength. So strength is comes from the earth itself. I hope these things are this little bit confusing. And if you have any doubts, just call me. Just we can talk it later. Okay. So now you should move ahead. So they are basically yin and yang. So we have seen they are totally opposite things. Day and night, they are totally opposite. And there's a duality of time, and they change, like, so day changes into night, night again changes into day, or you can just further, you can go deep into it. So there is a sunrise, and then there is noon, then evening when sun sets, and then midnight, and again there is sunrise. So the night and day, they are just the opposite, but they exist with each other. Suppose never there is night on the earth. Okay, so you won't come to feel what is day, because you know day because you know night. Okay, and these keeps on changing. They keeps on changing. Just bring it down everything to day and night, and things will get very simple. Okay, so what happens? So you can see this this diagram. I've tried to tell you that suppose if you start from the very left of the diagram, where the yin is at is almost at zero. It never goes zero. Okay, so almost at zero, the minimum part of it. So when it is minimum, the yang is maximum. So this is like the noon time. Okay, the yin is at the minimum, the maximum heat is there, sun is over your head. So when it progresses, it goes down, down. So both of them intersect at a point, and that is a point where the sunset happens. And then the yin grows, the night grows, and till midnight, the yin gets the maximum and the yang is deficient, because there is no light, and the maximum night is at that point of time. Again the yin start to decrease, and the yang start to increase, and they intersect at a point which is known as sunrise, sorry. So this is how things happen. One thing increases, the other decreases. They are totally opposite, but still both of them. So day and night, there is no day without day and night. Okay, there can't be a day without a night. You cannot call it a complete day. So this thing happens, and every phenomenon contains within itself both aspects in different degrees of manifestation. Now this is very important thing. So everything is in this universe. You see, everything must be having some yin and yang with different levels. It will try to achieve a 50-50 proportion, but practically it doesn't happen every time. Okay, so they are like the yin yang as a two phase of cyclical movement. So cyclical movement is what I told you. So day and night are there. They keep on going as a cycle. And similarly, you can see in this diagram, the seasons also go in this way. So gradually from spring, there is in spring, you see there is just start of the winter season, summer season is there. So summer means heat, and spring, it is just starting up. So starting, you can say it's yang is just getting started. So it's yang within yin. So it's more of cold, or you can say more of yin and lesser yang. Yes, yang has just started to go up. In summers, you see it's yang within yang, it's maximum yang, too much of heat. Then in autumn, there is yin within yang, because now the summers are tapering off, and it's time for winter to set in. So it's yin, autumn is yin within yang. And in winters, what happens is totally yin within yin. So this is how the cycle goes on. The yin and yang, again, these are extremely, both are comparatively, relatively, they are opposite. So just keep in mind, they are relatively opposite. They are not absolutely opposite. They are relatively opposite to each other, and they keeps on coming in cycles. Okay, so there cannot be yang without yin. Both should be there. I've explained already. One is growth of yang, maximum yang. You can take a note. So now we are going to see yin yang as two states of density of matter. How the density you must be aware of it. Let me make it very simple. Water is in a liquid stage. You take water and you do one thing. You do two things. Okay. First, you boil the water. You give some heat to it. So heat is yang. You are giving yang to it. So what are things going to happen? The vapor will always go up. Okay, the vapor is rarefied, it is light, it will always go up, it will never come down, because anything which gets heated up will get lighter. Okay, it will expand, the vapor will expand into every space of the room, because it's the nature, the yang has a nature. Then now you do the other thing, you take water and you just put it into the freezer, make it into ice. The ice, what happened, the molecules get stick together, they just contract. Okay, just think like in winters you just shiver, you just now squeeze down as a round ball usually. So everything get contracted in winter, and so winter, that makes things heavier. The yin makes the things heavier, so heavy things always goes down. And you will see the symptoms of yin always mostly will feel at the lower part of the body. The yang symptoms in the patients you will see always in the head mostly, or in the upper part of the body, because the symptoms are light. And this is how we need to understand how the nature goes and why the symptoms are there. Why you must have heard something like liver yang rising. Okay, why there is only yang rising while never yang falling down? So it is only because it is the inherent nature of yang to rise. The heat will always go up, it will never go down. So let's take another look at the chart. So I have made another chart. So this will make it things more clear. Immaterial is yang. So because immaterial means something which you can't touch, you can only feel it. So you can feel the water vapor, but you cannot touch it. So that's why material, as you can see, ice itself is, you can feel it and you can touch it. So that is yin. Now it produces energy. Anything you need to start off, just remember in this way. Every one of us has some motorbikes and cars, and which needs a starter, which needs a spark to start the engine. So anything which you need to light up, you need to start, you need to just so that produces energy. So in this way you can just remember it. The yin is like it produces form. You know, by this time you have seen, so any form you can give to water in whatever shape you keep it in, so it will take that shape, you will get the form. So it again generates. So this example will tell you how it generates. It generates a spark, and your motorcycle goes on and on. Then yin says it grows because it nourishes. Yin has the, like water. Water is yin. Okay, water is yin most of the times. In our body itself, it is yin, and it has yin always has the power of nourishment. It gives nourishment. So anything which gives nourishment will allow things to grow. Now, non-substantial, this is very clear because it is immaterial, so it is non-substantial. So it is energy, and yang is energy, and yin is matter. I don't think there is any confusion. Expansion I have already explained, and contraction is yin. The rising, you can just, I have already told you that rising is yang. Anything will rise is yang. Above, so anything will rise will be above. and below, so is below is yin. Fire will always rise above, its heat. Water will go down, and water is yin. So I don't think there should be any confusion in this slide as well. So this comes a very important slide. So first thing it has written that just look at the symbol, okay? Don't just study it. I'll tell you how to look at this symbol. If you just look at this symbol, it will explain you everything. Okay, you don't need to study anything. So this symbol has two colors, first of all. So white is yang, okay, and black is yin, and they fits into each other. So what does it mean? So first of all, it means that they both are absolutely opposite. The white and the black color, it tells you they're absolutely opposite, but they fits into each other. So it means that they're interdependent. Okay, one is incomplete without the other. So they fits into each other, and when they fits, they make the whole the circle. They make the whole circle. Otherwise, the circle is incomplete. So the nature is only there. It will work by its own way if both yin and yang are present. The other thing you see is there is a black dot on the white side and the white dot on the black side. And what does this mean? This clearly means that nothing is completely yin and nothing is completely yang. There is some element of yin and yang in the other. And this functions like a seed for the change to occur. Okay, that black part is in the yang is showing you that at some point of the time when the situations are right, the yin will get transformed into yin, and it is similar for the other side as well. So things will change, and this is how nature operates. Nothing is static, it's always changing. So let's now look at the slide. Although they are opposite cyclical stages or opposite stages of density of matter, yin and yang form a unity and are complementary. This I've told you. Yang contains the seed of yin and vice versa. This represented by the small black and white spots. Okay, nothing is totally yin or totally yang, and yang changes into yin. So through these dots itself, because they are like the seeds of the opposite, so some point of time they will change. Okay, so now narrow down everything to the four aspects of yin yang relationship. So first is the opposition of yin and yang. So I have told you in the previous diagram that both are just the opposite of each other. They are depending on each other because a day is not completed without a night. So they are interdependent. So they mutually consume each other. How? Because if one grows, in that diagram that earlier I showed you that graph, that one increases, the other decreases. So it happens by they consume each other. Okay. And then they get inter-transformation because they are consuming each other. So one thing is changing, getting transformed into the other. So, and this you can remember by the energy can never be created, can never be destroyed. It can just change its forms. These are very basic principles. If you are thorough with it, so things get very easy. When I'll teach you the medical aspect of it, the things will seem very simple to you. Some patient is coming to you, he'll say, I have an headache, I went out in the field and there is a headache. So why there is headache? Because yeah, the yang must have increases. Why the yang has increases? This is the next step to find out. But yang must have increased, and that's why he's feeling some headache. So whether it is due to excess yang or due to deficient yin, that we'll study it later. So you'll get a very broad idea about how to approach. So let's study about the opposition of yin and yang. So why the things change, why the time changes, how this universe is going on, how the time is going on? It is due to the very inner contradiction there is present between yin and yang. because there is a day which is the very extreme opposite of the night. And that's why, that's how the nature is going on and on and on. The things are going on because they are opposite. It is the very opposite nature of them. They are, the nature is going in such a way, the things are developing, the things are decaying, and this is how the nature goes. But this opposition is only relative, it's not absolute. I told you anything and nothing in this world is absolute, everything is relative. So comparatively, everything is compared. Just remember that example, what I told you, you put your hand in 10 degree and 25 degree, and that's kind sort of thing. So when you put your hand in 10 degrees of water, your experience is totally different. And when you put it in immediately in 25 degrees of water, the feeling totally changes. It's just the opposite. So it's only because of the relative things are there. Nothing is absolute. So the opposition of yin yang is relative, as yin or yang quality of something is not really intrinsic, but only relative to something else. Yeah, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Nothing is intrinsic, nothing is static, nothing is absolute. So when the situation changes, something which is yin will be seen as yang. Suppose I draw a small line. Now this example I'm taking because we used to do when I was a kid. So I used to ask, I draw a small line, and now a long line. I draw one line, and I ask the other person, see, just make it short without cutting it, without rubbing it. So how can you make it short? So the only way of doing is if you just draw parallelly a long line, okay, to it. So that automatically will seem short. Or if you someone said just make it a further bigger line, how can you say it is a long line? You can extend it. So just draw a very small line in front of that line, and that will seem a long line to you. So everything is relative. This is how I want to explain each and everything, that everything is relative. I'm stressing these things because in the later part, these things will sound very much promising to you. Whatever I'm saying, you will be able to correlate everything to that. So everything contains contains yin and yang. That's true, and these are never present. I've told you they try to achieve a 50% proportion, but there is always a dynamic, because yin always trying to overrule yang, and yang always trying to overrule yang. So there is an opposite force always going on, and they always try to achieve a dynamic balance. So they both are just opposite. They're trying to just overrule one another, and they try to achieve a 50% balance. We should, but it's not always the case. So next is interdependence of yin and yang. They both are interdependent, and you must have understood by this time that one cannot exist without the other, and everything contains opposite forces which are mutually exclusive, but at the same time they depend on each other. So yes, as they are opposite, so yin has its own exclusivity, and yang has its own nature. But at the same time, again, I told you, a day is not complete without night, and night is totally different experience, and day is a totally different experience. But they constitute, both of them are required to call it as a day. So they mutually consume each other. Okay, they are in a state of dynamic balance, which is maintained by continuous adjustment of their relative levels. So what happens is they always oppose. They are because they are the opposite forces. They're always trying to override on the other, and there should be some balance. So suppose, let me give you an example. What happens is one hand, your left hand is, suppose it is yang, and right is yin. And if both of them are having the equal pressure, so it will stay in the middle. But the hand with the more force will suppress the other hand or take the hand to the other side. So this can happen only when the outer circumstances changes. Okay, outer, like suppose, uh, let me give you an example here. This will make the things very simple. You're sitting in a room at 25 degrees centigrade with the AC on. So, and normally a person will feel calm and relaxed. Now he get a phone call and he has to go out at 45 degrees centigrade. Okay. So he moves out. So what will happen? After 10 minutes, the sweating will start happening. So till what point of time it will happen? Until now, why this sweating happens? First of all, let me tell you why this sweating happened. So when you go outside, the yang is more there. Okay. So in order to balance the yang, yin also increased. Okay. To make that proportion, in order to make that proportion, the yin also increased for some time. So yin is the sweat. The sweat came out. Until what time it will be coming out? Until you get back to at normal temperature. When your body gets at the normal temperature, gradually the sweating will go off. So you have removed that yang part, the yang factor. So this is what I want to say. In normal circumstances, see, there is a normal balance when the person was in a room at 25 degrees centigrade. Things were still in the balance, but suddenly some external change happened. Okay, some external change happened which led to an imbalance. In order to balance, there was a counter attack, or you can say, by the yin. So yin also increased. And suppose, let us take an example further. Suppose what happened, that person doesn't go back to the room and he's there for at least 6 hours. Okay, so what will happen? The sweating will go on and on and on and on until he's at a higher temperature at 45 degrees centigrade. The yang is high, so till that point of time the sweating will occur. Okay, suppose that person doesn't have any water, or he doesn't get rehydrated somehow. He doesn't find any water. He suppose in a desert. So what will happen? The yin will gradually starts going down. The sweating will go down. A point of time will be reached when the water content in the body will go down, because that is being consumed. That is out of the body now as sweat. So yin content will go down. Yang is still there. It's at the same intensity. So what will happen? Heat stroke will happen. You must have heard in the summertime people get a heat stroke. So heat stroke happens where? In the foot, hand, where? On in the intestines. It always happens in your brain, in your head. Why? So according to acupuncture, heart contains mind. Okay, and heart does contains the mind. So when the yang was high and you don't consume enough water, so yin is not able to control the yang. Okay, he is not able to make the force. He's not able to come to that proportion itself. So what is happening? The yang has gone too much high. So when the heat goes up to the brain, this causes heat stroke. We call it heat in the pericardium, and this leads to heat in the. This is what the acupuncture diagnosis is. So what happens? Why it is affecting brain? This is the one reason. But why? Now let me tell you the medical reason also of the heat stroke. See, the most heated part in a computer is the CPU. Okay, and the most heated part in the body is again CPU, which is our brain. So heated part I am talking, that is the most yang part. So what we have to do is, coming back to the normal, we need to pull the yang down. So what will the body will do? The body will switch off the controls of yang. You get unconscious. The brain activity is stopped. You get unconscious. I hope I'm clear with this example from both the medical aspect and the acupuncture and yin yang theory. So that shuts off. You get unconscious, you fall down, and this is like a defense mechanism by the body in order to control that. And that is why we always say you keep hydrated whenever you go out in the summers. So this I tried to give you an example how actually the things are happening, and this example will help you in the later part as well. Okay, so yin and yang, I told you, they are in the relative, so they need to create a dynamic balance always. So when either yin or yang is out of balance, as I told you in the example, each necessarily affect other, and by changing their proportion achieve a new balance. So in this example, when initially the yang goes up, the heat, there was a heat outside, so sweating happened and they tried to achieve the balance. So what are the four possible? So there could be four possible states of imbalances. We are talking about imbalances. Okay, we are not talking about the balance state. Balance state, they will have some proportion 50 60, 50 50, 60 40 kind of situation, 55 45 kind of. But what will happen if it is in some state of imbalance? So there could be excess of yin, excess of yang, deficiency of yin and deficiency of yang. So this I have shown you by this example, that in this the yin is excess and the yang is a bit deficient. This is excess of yang and a bit deficient yin. Now this is a weakness. The yang is normal, but the yin is less. So apparently it seems that yang is high. Okay, apparently it seems high, but actually it's at the normal level. Is the yin which is deficient. So in this situation, the treatment will be to tonify the yin. Okay, I'll explain it to you later. So in weakness of yang, so yang is on the weaker side and the yin is normal. Apparently, it looks like that yin is more, but actually the yang is on the lesser side. So there is intertransformation of yin and yang. By this time you have understood. See, they are opposite, they consume each other, and they're in a state of dynamic, they change from one to another. So, but why and how it happened? You need two conditions to fulfill it, and this very important part of it. So day will switch over to night, but it won't happen like this. Okay, so there should be some internal cause. You need to have something intrinsic factor to get transformed into something else. Let me take an example for this. So there is an egg which will hatch which will hatch. Okay, and if you give heat and proper environment and proper conditions to it, the egg will hatch. So why did it hatch? Because there was some intrinsic factor present in the egg itself, which caused, when the right conditions were met, which caused the egg to hatch. Okay, so you need to have something intrinsic. You cannot just put a steel ball and give a heat and it will convert into a chicken. So that doesn't happen that way. The second condition is the time factor. So it won't happen in such a way that if you give more heat to an egg and it will hatch quickly. What to happen in 40 days will happen in 4 hours. It won't happen in like that. So there's a time factor to it. Everything has a certain period of time And if if there is intrinsic factor present, the things will change from yin to yang and yang to yin. They all change, but this is the crucial factor. They changes only when there is time to change into night. When there is a time, it will only change at that certain point of time. It won't happen. The night won't come at 12 noon. So this is the very basics of the nature, how the nature operates. Now, how it is applied to medicine, all of you must be now very much excited. Let's see. So, as you have seen, the yang, which is the heat, it always goes up, and the superior part of the body, especially the head or the upper part of the body, is yang, and the lower part of the body is yin. So exterior and interior are organs. I'll explain you how we are will be covering this. So exterior, you consider on the exterior, definitely everyone has skin and muscles. And interior, if you go further deep into the body, okay, in medical college we used to dissect those dead bodies. So first thing we enter into the skin, and then the muscle, and then comes the fascia. The fascias are there, a lot of layers are there, and then we reach the organs. So organs are at the most interior, and just look at the four-legged animal. Okay, just look at the four-legged animal, and you just stand like a four-legged animal. So your back is at the top, and all your chest goes towards the inside. Why it is so? It is only because the back the back is have the protective function. Okay, suppose someone hits you, so you never try to take your chest in front. You'll always try to hide your chest, because that is the thing which you need to protect. Okay, internal organs, they need to be protected. So back is the yang surface, and it has the protective function. So yang always have the protective functions. Okay, and the chest and the abdomen contains, because they contains the yin organs, all the organs are there, all the important organs are there. So they have the nourishing function. They always nourish. Yin organs. So yin always has nourishing function. So posterior lateral. So these are a bit medical terms. Let me make it easy for you. So posterior means the back, and lateral means something away from the body is lateral, and medial, you can write it down. So medial is something which is towards the body. Okay, so all those surfaces which are posterolateral, yani those at the back and which are away from the body, like gallbladder channel, it's away from the body on the leg, and the spleen channel, it's on the inner side of the body, so that is a medial. Anything away from the body is again yang, and because they are at the outer part, the urinary bladder channel goes through the back. There is a SI channel in the upper back. Triple warmer is there in the upper back. So everything which has a protective, all the yang channels, all the everything, they are present on the back, on the posterior and the lateral surface of the body, and all the yin channels and all the things are present on the anterior and the medial surface of the body. So yang, you must be aware of it. So the yang is always the function and the yin is the structure. So the body, the body itself, the organ itself, the structure of the organ itself is yin. Okay, and the function. So how can you remember? See, the structure is something which you can feel, you can touch, but function is something you can feel, you cannot touch. So again, which is something which is immaterial is yang. You can correlate through that part. Head is at the upper part, and the body is at the lower. Comparatively, again I'm saying it comparatively, your abdomen your abdomen. I hope it is clear to everyone. Your navel is yin compared to head, but it is yang compared to feet. So everything is compared. We change the scenario only, so things will change. Okay. Okay, again, you see posterior lateral surface of limbs and interior and medial surface of the limbs. Again, the posterior is the back surface limb of the hand and feet, and the lateral surface of the hand and feet are yang. You must be aware of all these things. And if not, I'll be explaining you in the further slides. So let's go ahead. So back and front. So back is a place where all the yang channel flows, and they all carry the yin, the yang energy, and have the function of protecting. I told you the function of yang is to protect, and you must be aware of some defensive chi. Okay, defensive chi is something which is governed by the three organs. Don't just get if you don't know, don't worry. I'll explain it later. Just listen. So defensive chi, from the name itself, you get an idea what defensive chi is. Defensive is like protecting. So it flows through between the skin and muscle. There is a space, there is known as Cowley space, and it flows in between both of the layers, between the skin and muscles, and which is at the outer part of the body. And defensive is like the immunity of the body, defensive chi. So it is governed by the three organs according to acupuncture. It's kidney and spleen and stomach and the lungs. So primarily lungs are important. We'll explain it later when we'll study that part. So basically, there is another one that is nutritive chi, which has a nourishing function, which nourishes all the organs, which nourishes body, and which is found in the inner part of the body. So anything which is at the out is having a protective function. The God has given hands and hands in such a way that we can protect our chest and abdomen from any attack. We'll always try to protect. Okay, so yang energy, it has the function of protecting the body from exterior pathogenic factors. So exterior pathogenic factor, if you don't understand, let me make it very simple. Exterior means something from the out. Pathogen means disease causing factors, disease causing organisms or factors. So anything like corona these days, everyone is aware that corona is going on, and so this is an external pathogenic factor which attacks our lungs or attacks our body. Or something like wind, or right now it's summertime, so it's summer heat. So summer heat, the excessive heat, if you go out, so it is an external pathogenic factor. Why? Because if you don't take enough precaution, it will cause some imbalance in the body, and heat stroke can happen. A pathology can happen in your body. Something different from normal can happen in your body. So that is why it is known as exterior pathogenic factor. So it is the nature of yang to be on the exterior and to protect. Okay. So it is the nature of yin to be in the interior and to nourish. The front is the place where all the yin channels flow. Yes, you know all these things, and these carry yin energy and have the function of nourishing the body. They are often used to tonify yin. Yes, definitely you can use them. So treatment is always in the later part. Now head and body, if you will see, the head is the yang part and the body is the yin part. So head is a place where all the yang channels are there, either begin or end there. And so in pathological situation, why head is considered as yang, that is the explanation which I have written. So it's the place where all the yang channels either begin or end first. The other is where all the pathological situation happens. See, yang always tend to go up. The heat always goes up. So in liver yang rising, this is a pathological condition. This is a disease condition in acupuncture. So what happens? The heat will go up and it will cause some problem like headache, migraine, dizziness, or vertigo, something like that will happen. And so all these yang like symptoms, okay, will happen in the head itself. Then since the body is the topmost area, yang energy, will it be pathological or be physiological, will tend to rise to head. Okay, in pathological service. So this very clear, see someone having a red face and red eyes. So red is indicative of fire and heat. Heat will always goes up, and someone with red face and eyes, you can, if someone comes to your clinic, you can understand that his yang is on the higher side. Not always, but mostly. Okay, you need to further detect and ask him the further symptoms, what is there. But this will give you a brief idea about what is happening in the body. The yang is on the upper side and it's more there. So head is also easily affected by yang pathogenic factors such as wind and summer heat. So I told you pathogenic factor, external pathogenic factor. Now there is something like yang. Now we have uh, classified the pathogenic factors into yang and yin also. Okay, so yang one are wind and summer heat. Why? Because see, wind is related to spring. Okay, if you get back to the previous slides, wind is related to spring, and spring is something which is the start of yang. Okay, so in the wind, during that time of spring, or in those who are having some liver issues, liver like symptoms, according to acupuncture, okay, so they must be feeling some migraine issues increases, and there some twitching increases, or fits, epilepsy, these things occur more frequently, or there is some there is some like conjunctivitis happens to the people. It doesn't happen to everyone, but happens to few. So it's mostly due to wind, which is again, that wind is affecting where the brain, it is getting affected mostly, or the head is getting affected, or those structures in the head which are getting affected. Then again, summer heat, I have given you example. From the heat itself, you can understand it's a yang pathogenic factor and it affects the brain. Finally, the head being the convergence place of all the yang channels, points in this area can be used to raise yang. So how can you raise the yang energy? Let me give you an example. There is a condition in acupuncture known as spleen chi sinking, in where the symptoms are like everything is patient will feel everything is going down, like body सब कुछ लटक गया है, लटका लटका, भारी भारी, heaviness is there. So patient will feel that his body is going down, very weak patient will be there. So what we'll do in that case, we'll go to GV20 point, which is at the topmost point at the head, and we'll do some moxa there. So moxa is again yang. What we are trying to do is, there is a spleen yang deficiency or spleen chi sinking. The chi sinking means it is like it's gone, almost has gone like collapsing. So in order to raise the yang, in order to increase the yang, what we do? We do some yang. We add some yang. So moxa is yang. So we add some moxa, and where to put? At GV20, which is the topmost point. So we are putting yang at the yang point, yang most point. Okay, so that will try to, and if you have diagnosed it correctly, now I've given this treatment to various patients, and let me tell you, the results are like patient now at the start, the beginning of the treatment, patient is something like is not moving, not talking, and after the end of the treatment is like much better. He feels some energy in the body. It doesn't happen like he'll transform completely. It doesn't happen that way, because that is a very chronic condition. It's not an acute condition, it's a chronic condition. So patient won't get completely fit in a day, but he'll certainly is going to feel that change in the body, and as a doctor you will also observe that your patient has improved. So I was talking about that this that points on the head are used for raising the yang energy. So rest of the body like chest and abdomen pertains to yin. As I told you, comparatively, they are yin to head. It is easily affected by yin pathogenic factors such as cold and dampness. So cold and dampness are considered to be yin because cold is very obvious, and dampness is like, because damp means like humidity, and humidity always contain water particles. So water is always yin. So dampness is heavy, it settles down in the body, it will goes down. All the symptoms you will feel they are towards the lower part, and the symptoms are like heaviness in the body and very sluggish. Everything which is very slow is again yin. Let's go ahead. So exterior and interior I told you. So it's the skin and the muscles which pertain to yang, and it has a function of protecting the body, yes. And the interior includes, it has the internal organs has the function of nourishing the body. So again, now comparatively, if you see, relatively, anything above the waist is yang compared to something which is below the waist. And what we do is this diagnosis we usually take in the skin diseases. Okay, usually we take in such a way in skin diseases. So yang pathogenic factors like wind will affect above the navel, above the waist, and those like yin pathogenic factors like dampness and all will affect the body on the lower part below the waist. So yin organs and yang organs, you must be aware of this thing, that yang organs, they have the function of transforming, digesting, excreting the impure products. Okay, and what they do, they produce chi. They produce chi from whatever food you have consumed, and they're also in contact with the outer part of the body, like mouth. The stomach is connected to mouth through esophagus. The intestine are connected to anus, and the urethra is again connected to bladder. So yang organs are connected to the outer points, with the outside, and that's why. And the yin organs, they store all the essence they produced, all the nourishing things which are happening after the process of transformation of food, and what yang organs have done. So what they do, they take all the essence and they'll store it, and they'll keep on nourishing the body. And because yang organs are dependent on this nourishment itself. Suppose if organ like stomach, okay, if it doesn't if you don't eat food, so you are not going to feel energy in the body. So any organ will be like very weak. The function will go down. So when you are not taking the yin, the yang is also going down. So you can see these things in this way as well. I'm just giving an idea how to start thinking for yin and yang. So they also store the vital substances, that is chi, blood, body fluids, and essence. So chi in these things, chi is the rarest. So it is the youngest among the four. Okay. So it is the essence which is the densest. It is the essence which is the densest among these things. Let me go further. So function and structure of organs. So function, it's immaterial. You cannot touch it. You can only feel it. So anything, any function of an organ is yang in nature, and the structure of the organ itself is considered to be yin, because in acupuncture we don't only see the structure, we see that there is a blood, there is a fluid in it, there is essence going to it. So we don't see the anatomy wise, we see it medically. So there is a structure, you cut it down and there are blood vessels, and there is lymphatic drainage or not, there is nerve tissue present. And but in acupuncture, we see more in the terms of blood, essence, fluid, these are all yin. So the functional activity again, it represents the yang. Now chi and blood. So chi is comparatively lighter and blood is a denser. So it is comparatively yin. So blood is comparatively yin to chi, or chi is comparatively yang to blood. But write it down. Chi is comparatively yin to mind, because mind is the subtlest thing in the body. In our body, mind is the subtlest thing. So chi is comparatively, if you compare with mind, so chi is yang, is yin, and mind is yang. Okay, so that is why I have highlighted this line. Chi is yang in relation to blood and not in relation to mind. So blood, which is a denser and more material form of chi, is therefore more yin, and chi has the role of warming, protecting, transforming, all the typical yang functions. The blood has the function of nourishment and all the so one of the moistening functions. So when there is a blood deficiency in a patient, you will see they have the symptoms of dryness also. They'll be weak, they'll be pale looking, yellowish. You must be understanding that pale look. And but there will be a symptom of dryness. Absolutely, I found in most of the patients. So dryness comes because there is a deficiency of blood, and blood has a function of moistening, moistening the body, moistening the skin everywhere. Now we see defensive and nutritive. Nutritive I have explained you earlier. So defensive chi, that circulates between the skin and muscle. There is no space known as Cao Li space. It's a Chinese term, and has the function of protecting and warming the body. Let me tell you, give you a hint, because this defensive chi is like an immunity, is the immunity of our body. So if that is strong, as corona is going on, so we need to give more strength on the defensive chi. And how we can do that? So let us see what are the organs I told you. So one is the lungs, which is the most important. It circulates the defensive chi. The other is the kidney. Okay, so kidneys are like something you have immunity, which is you have from hereditary. Suppose someone hereditary is having some lack in the immunity, so the immunity will be on the weaker side. So kidney has those kind of functions. And stomach and spleen has a function of like if you don't eat a quality food, your immunity will go down. No, not only the pranayam will do everything. Okay, you do pranayam, that's fine. That will boost the lungs and improve the immunity. That's true. But if you're not having a good food, not having a healthy food, not having a balanced diet, so that will take your defensive chi again down. So you need diet as well. So that comes from stomach. And if you are hereditary, sound most of us are. So the third is the lungs, which is the most important, the primary thing. So we need to do a lot of pranayam, and that is how we just boost our defensive chi. And nutritive chi circulates in the internal organs and has a function of nourishing the body. Again, it is a yin function. So nutritive is like inside, and all the nourishment is being provided by this form of chi. So we'll study this application of 4 principles like interdependence and totally opposite. It's a very long topic, and tomorrow we'll also be studying the very minute application. I'll be talking about the various stages, how yin yang is there. I just today want to give you a broad idea about how it is in nature and how we link in the body. Yes, go ahead. Hello. So tomorrow we'll be covering covering this aspect, the very practical. We'll be only talking about the examples and how it is related to yin yang and how we can apply. Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Uma. If you want to ask something, yes, it is the right time to ask.
Dr. Uma, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah,
Dr.
thank you,
Uma.
madam. Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So you were telling about moxa for like GB20.
Yeah.
But when hairs will be too much, how can we do moxa on that point, sir?
Pardon? Here you can do
Yes.
you can just keep a few some distance from the hairs. Okay, it's not that a big deal.
Okay.
You can do it
Okay.
away. And if
Any alternate for that, sir?
pardon, see, this is very I have tried to give you an example in that chi sinking. Okay, this is only an example how we can raise yang chi. This
Okay,
is
sir.
not the point. We are not going to very depth right now. My focus is to explain you everything what I have written in the slide, so that when you see it back, so you can remember
Okay,
what I have you can recall everything.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
That means that if anything like if anybody feel like too low or something energy, we can treat this point immediately to get their energy activated. No.
Yes, certainly. Stomach 36, another point. If you can
Okay.
feel that point, that is relating to stomach channel, and stomach is from where all the chi generates. Okay, stomach and spleen are the organs from where all the chi generates. So stomach 36 is a very good point if you are feeling very low.
Okay. Can we treat SP also, sir, including that or only stomach?
No, you can definitely treat spleen, but you need to have a further diagnosis. Okay, so
Okay.
if someone is feeling low, definitely GV20 can help.
Okay. Oh, okay, sir.
Definitely.
Fine. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, sir. Take care.
Any other question? See, I want to just make it clear one thing. See, the points are like you must be because in my early days of practice, I just want to share a practical experience. In my early days of practice, what I used to do is I just used to study the points, and I put the needle. But then what happened is uh, whenever patient comes to me, few of them told me, sir, whenever I come to your clinic, I feel all good. I feel very relaxed. I feel like I'm very fine. But when I don't take the treatment, again I feel the same way. I feel diseased and I feel ill. So why it is happening? Why it is happening? So what I want to tell you is it's not only about the points. If you have diagnosed what is the actual root cause of the problem, and if you are treating that, I'm telling you, it will not come back. The symptoms won't come back. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to find why the things are happening in such a way. It can happen, see, something with the 2 days of some person came and he says, I'm having headache from past 2 days. So definitely if you put some point like Li4 itself, or so that can help. That will really help. But if someone is saying, I'm having some dull kind of headache from past 2 years, and if you put only Li4 or some other point, and you are not coming to a diagnosis why it is happening, whether it's due to increased yang, whether it is due to lesser yin, and whether it is due to lesser yin or increased yang and increased yang. So what is going on exactly? If you can treat that partner, so a lot of things will be like very easy for you to treat from the root cause. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Krishnamurthy. I cannot hear you. Yeah.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So, sir, you gave the mind is the yang, the extreme version of yang, and the essence is the extreme version of yin. So, can you give the sequence of what comes after that? Like, say, mind, then ki, then what, and like the journey up to essence.
See, there are three basic things in your body. I'm talking about the most elemental thing in the body. Okay. So the most subtle thing in this term, mind is controlled by heart. You must be knowing it, that in acupuncture theory, mind is controlled by heart, and mind is responsible for like consciousness is one of its function. Consciousness. Okay, the mind, how you think, how you process, so that is what mind does. So mind is not something which you can touch it, or it's not something moving. It's very subtle. It's the subtlest thing in your body. So mind is something which is very subtle. Okay, compare it to if you come to chi is something which is a bit denser than mind. And further, if you go to essence, these are the basic elements in the body. Okay, so if you are talking about the basic elements, so these are the three, and among the three, mind is the lightest, the rarest. Then comes the chi, and then comes the kidney essence, which is the densest form of chi. So is that
Okay.
what you want to know?
Yeah. This three I understood. Say mind, ki, and essence.
Yeah.
But in between them, like say blood, body fluid, etc. Like where do they fall in? That is what I was trying to. Because
Okay,
essence
you
is
want to
liquid.
ask which is the densest among the three? Okay, blood, body fluid, and essence.
See, essence is the densest because it is liquid. Essence is a fluid, right? So it is visible. So it is yin. Mind is invisible. Ki is invisible. So it is yang.
Yeah.
So body fluids, blood, tissues, bone, all of those are visible parts. Like where do they fall in the sequence from yang to yin? So I was trying to get in.
From yang to yin, you're getting into a body sequence. So I think the answer is, if you go in such a way, that which is the from the lightest to the densest, you want to go in that fashion.
Yes.
So you are asking that, see, the mind is the subtlest, then outer, from the outer, if you see anything, you are asking in terms of densest, or you are asking in terms of yin and yang?
See, the whole body is made out of yin and yang, or ki, I can say. Say, I was trying to correlate it with Ayurveda. We have rasa, rakta, mas, ajji, that sequence of flow of energy from the rarest to the densest. Is there any such thing that we can correlate in TCM?
Let me tell you, sir. In Ayurveda, see, acupuncture and Ayurveda, they are almost similar. Okay, and let me tell you, Ayurveda is further much. They go much into deep. Okay, Ayurveda pulse diagnosis is much minute than Chinese pulse diagnosis. So Ayurveda diagnosis is much minute. You can get much into it. It is not something given in as far as I have studied. No such thing has been given in the Chinese or this acupuncture text I have studied. So definitely it is written that in Ayurveda there is a lightest to densest. This kind of classification is available, but I haven't read such kind of thing in acupuncture. What I have studied, I have told you. These are the basic things: chi, mind, and essence. How they classify from lightest to densest.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. And GB20, like, because there is hair, like we will have to do it at some distance, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
When we are doing moksha.
Yes.
Okay.
You can take that moksha stick, you can take that long moksha stick, cigar kind of stick which is available, and you can place a rest on the patient's head. You can take the rest of the little finger and you can do moksha. It does work.
Okay. And using the same stick, we can also do for ST36, like moxa. It is a good point that you told.
Definitely, you can do, you put the needle and you can also do moxa over there. Definitely, it will help.
And generally, it is to increase the yang energy in the body. The moxa on ST36 and GB20.
See, yes,
general,
it is one of the functions, not the only functions. Yes, but one of the functions you can increase the yang. Suppose you're very tired, or you did a lot of work on, you came to home and you're too much tired and you want to just get relaxed. So put a needle or do some moxa and you'll feel balanced. This is how you can use it in a daily use. How you can use it.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Mention not.
Now,
Yes.
Sir,
Seema.
we have 1 minute, sir. We are following two types of meridian. One is a distal meridian and another is a basal meridian. Sir, your experience on that, sir, since you are.
Pardon, I please speak loudly. I can't hear you.
Yeah, we have two. We have
Hello.
two types of meridian.
Yes.
One is a distal meridian and another is a basal meridian, where in the index finger, thumb and middle finger itself, all the acupuncture points are as per the Sujok.
Yes.
So your experience on that, sir, it's both are same, or how do you?
See,
differentiate?
let me tell you, I have studied Sujok. I have been practicing with the magnets also. So what I see, the best part is what needle can do, nothing else can do. Let me tell you, acupuncture is number one to give for some miraculous
Instant
results.
result.
Okay.
Instant result.
So that gives the best result. Then comes Sujok also does wonderful job. See there, I told you there are 6 stages of disease. So suppose someone is coming at the 5th stage. So Sujok will work, but it will work slowly. That is my experience. And if you put a needle to that person, that will work it at a much faster pace. But as far as Sujok is concerned, it does work, but the results are comparatively slow. So what happens, what I've observed is everybody is looking for some quick result, some miraculous result. Everyone, even the patient cannot wait for, they'll wait for allopathic pills to do their work, but they won't wait for some acupuncture or Sujok to work if it is working slowly.
Yes.
So what I do is I personally, I judge the patient at what stage he has come, and then I go give the treatment accordingly. So let's take another example. Suppose the patient has come at stage 2 or 3. So yes, you can put a magnet or you can diagnose according to Sujok and it will work wonderfully well. So that is why it happens that few patients, they get wonderful results with Sujok, and sometimes Sujok people say we don't get any results, the patient is not happy with us. So it's not their fault or it's not Sujok fault. It's only the thing, the pace of the disease, the pace of the Sujok therapy is comparatively on the slower side. And at the advanced stage of the disease, you need to be very precise. Let be very clear that if your diagnosis is like to the point and you're very precise, so I'll suggest to go with the needling. The part of India, in the North India where I belong, see, people are impatient. Everybody is impatient and they want quick results. And I
Everywhere
believe
it
in
is.
delivering results. So I just keep on changing my methodology. That's why I chose this topic, because this is the topic where you can have a broad idea at what stage of the disease the patient has come, how much damage has happened, and how much time it will take to recover back. Suppose you are doing a correct treatment and the patient is at 5th stage or 4th stage of a disease, and it will take around 3 months of treatment. Okay. Now, if you don't know at what stage of the disease the patient is, so you will have your own calculations that I put a magnet and suppose in 15 or 20 days or a month, patient should get well. You are doing all the treatment correctly. Okay, you are doing all the treatment correctly, but you don't know at how much at what the stage of the disease is and how much time it will take. So your calculations will go wrong. And similarly, your patient's calculations will go wrong. So what he'll say, sir, you said I'll be completely treated within a month, but I'm still suffering from this problem. So what will happen with the patient? What patient will say? His trust will be like, nah, from this therapy, Sujok and acupuncture, this thing will go or will come down. So that I don't want to happen. As a therapy for acupuncture to develop, we need to give a very good experience to those patients who are coming to us, and so that this therapy can grow and enhance. And let me tell you my experience about the therapy is 90% of the patient can be treated with just by taking the corrective diet and acupuncture treatment. 90% of my patients get treated without any medicine. I don't believe in giving medicines. I just correct their diet and give some this acupuncture treatment. And rest of the 10% cases are definitely they required some Ayurvedic, or I prefer Ayurveda definitely. And they need some Ayurvedic treatment or allopathic treatment. But as an allopath, I can judge that situation because I have that allopathic idea where to taper down the drug. So what you can do, people can do, don't do it yourself. You just refer the case to the physician itself. They'll taper down itself. Don't do it yourself because you are not authorized for that and you don't have enough knowledge. So don't do that. You do your own work. And this is what I wanted to achieve with the topic, so that you can get the very you get very precise with the results. Okay, please go ahead, Miss Seema.
Seema, yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, in the beginning, you said it's a wonderful session with the basics. I really like the concept, the way you taught us yin and yang there.
Thank you
But
so much.
I was just not clear about one little thing that you said. You don't have a slide, but you said you compared something with the right hand being strong and it's
Okay.
yang.
Okay.
That part caught my attention. So that is number one question. And the second question is, people always talk about kidney deficiency, and some people say kidney insufficiency. What is the difference between those two is what I always wonder. Is it, is it
Kidney
directly
deficiency and kidney
insufficiency?
indeficiency. Let me tell you, I haven't heard of this. I have heard of kidney
Some
deficiency.
people,
I have
they
never
use
heard of
it-
kidney indeficiency.
Yeah, there are some people, all the acupressure people, they
I
use
have
it
not read a
interchangeably.
single text like kidney indeficiency. I have never heard. I've studied a lot of authors, a lot of books. I have never heard. So I don't believe on this terminology itself.
So it
be
is just
very
deficiency.
specific. I can explain you what is kidney deficiency is. I can tell you that. At what
Okay.
stage particular symptom will come, I can explain you that. But what kidney indeficiency you want to signify, I don't know. Maybe some people have devised their own words to describe some symptoms. I don't know. But as far as any acupuncture concept, Chinese or acupuncture reference or text is concerned, I have never heard. Please be very specific with
Sure.
what you want to ask.
Okay, and the first question, like, you said something about right hand being strong and yang.
Yeah.
Can you just,
Yes, I'll explain it to you. So what is we have definitely our right side, most of us, our right side is stronger than the left. So what we want to say is in the left. Oh, let me tell you what I want to tell. Yes, it is the east. In east and south, there is deficiency of earth. So let's break it. In east is yang, south is yang. So if something is yang, there must be deficiency of yin. So it says there is a deficiency of earth. Actually, it is something Chinese text quoted. So I like this, and that's why I shared it with you. So in east and south, there is a deficiency of earth. Earth is yin. So something which is yang will definitely have a deficiency of earth. Now, what does earth signifies? Earth has a significance of having a strength. Okay, earth has a significance of absorbing and having something
Accumulation and
volume. Yeah.
volume,
So,
right?
so our right hand, if so, our let's suppose ki the hand have the strength comes from muscles. Okay. Again, the muscle belongs to the spleen, and that belongs to the earth element. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So right hand comparatively has more of the earth because that is yin. Comparatively, I'm telling you. Are you getting it?
Yes, 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 I got it, yeah.
So I gave you another example that that your left hand is yang. Left hand is yang. I told you because when you left hand is yang, and when you face south, your left hand is towards the east, and east is where the sun rises, and where there is sun, there is yang.
Yes, yes, I got it. Yeah, yeah.
I
Thank
got it.
you.
You got my point. It is
Yes.
actually it is a it is a text written in a book and in a Chinese. So I like this thing. I was confused also like you initially. I studied it very minutely and I got it. So that's why I shared it with you. The other
But
thing
this
which is written is the other point was in west and north. So west, there is a deficiency of heaven. So west is
Uh-huh.
yin, north is yin, and so something which is yin, there must be a deficiency of yang. So heaven is
Yang.
yang. Okay.
Yang.
So hence your left. So left is what? Left is yang.
Yang. No, in.
Left is yang. Left is yang. Sorry. Let me tell you. Let me make it very clear to you. Your left hand is yang. Right side is yin.
Right, right.
Okay, I just spoke it. I spoke it differently. Okay, I got it. I spoke it wrongly. I'm sorry for that. So left is yang, right is yin. So your left, which is yang, ear and eyes can hear and see better than the right, because the right has the deficiency of yang. And while only it has written left ear and eyes, because left ear and eyes are placed in the head, which is in the yang portion of the body. Are you getting my point?
Yes, yes, yes.
So this is just a clinical correlation I wanted to.
This is very interesting. I've never heard this part. So yeah, that caught my eye.
Yeah, I felt very interesting to share with you people. So that's why I quoted this. I know it is a bit tricky.
Yeah. But then thanks. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Thank you so much for clarifying this.
Mention not.
Appreciate it.
Lata Shaktivel, please unmute your mic. Lata Shaktivel.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
evening.
I'm not a practitioner, but I would like to talk about my experience. I am actually having a problem with the meniscus in the right knee and gone through a lot of things, acupuncture and other stuff. Finally, I've just landed up with the dry needle therapy, with the physiotherapy with the dry needle. How far is this effective, sir? Because it's just started with me and I am not very active because of my knee. I'm basically a yoga budding teacher.
Okay.
So I just wanted to know, is this something related to your topic,
So can you
sir?
please explain
Dry
what they
needle
do with
therapy?
that dry needle therapy in
See,
physiotherapy?
they just see, because currently they are activating my IT band and my meniscus area with the acupuncture needle, and they give me that what is that, ultrasonic wave.
Okay.
After activating it, they insert the needle, 2-3 needles.
So they
remove it off.
insert the needle in your knee eye. Okay. Knee itself.
Yes, on the IT band, IT band and under thigh.
Under the
They
thigh.
just insert
Okay.
and they just activate it and they remove the
So how they
needle.
activate it
and
how they activate by electrical
Pata nahi,
stimulation?
sir.
Huh?
Nothing, sir. She just inserts and she slightly drills it and she pulls it out.
Okay.
She calls it as a dry needle therapy.
And then what they do?
And
They-
they
they
give
do
that
ultrasonic
particular
then?
area. Yes, yes.
See, what I do, because I know what physiotherapy ultrasonic does. So
She's a
ultrasonic
sports
has,
physio. Yeah, she's a sports rehab
yeah, I'll tell you what it's
physiotherapist.
doing,
Yeah.
what it's doing.
Hmm.
So there are trigger points in your knees, okay, in your thigh.
Okay. Okay.
So when your knee is affected,
Okay.
a lot of the muscles get affected also. Definitely when it is a chronic
Yes.
condition. So when I
Hmm.
see your X-ray, I can tell you, said, so there are changes in X-ray and there are changes in the muscles also. Muscles also change their direction, their anatomy.
Positions.
Not exactly what you say anatomy. There are some structural changes comes in the knee as well. So that
Okay.
leads to the formation of some trigger points. So what are the trigger points? Trigger points are the points where like if you touch them, they're like there you'll like say ouch, there's been too much shooting pain. So what she's trying to
Yes.
do is she's trying to just put some relax your muscles, okay. She just relax your
Okay.
muscles and so that your knee gets into right place, and then she does ultrasonic. So ultrasonic has a role of removing the inflammation from the knee and reducing the pain also. But
Okay. So
here
is
comes,
this
but here,
going to be a kind of
this is what
solution?
I'm going to tell you what will happen next. She
Yeah.
see, this will give you a result, but it depends on what stage you are there, what stage you are there in, because ultrasonic treatment will be only like painkiller treatment, okay, symptomatic, what we say. Symptomatic
Okay.
means just treating the
Okay.
pain. So ultrasonic I also use at my clinic, so that is more or less like a painkiller kind of treatment. Okay,
ठीक है,
but
sir.
that needle
Okay.
which she is using, yes, it will help, but it depends on which point she is taking and what kind of muscular structure is present and what degree of deterioration has happened in the knee, because I see a lot of knee patient and I'm very happy to take all those cases which are like absolutely damaged. I'm telling you, the absolutely
What she
damaged.
did was,
Ah,
yes, sir. What she did is she's comparing with the left leg of mine, where the muscle mass is pretty good, and the difference between the pain knee as well as the other knee, there is a difference of 5
5
centimeters or
fingers,
inches.
so that's a lot.
Inches. It's more. So she said you must do a lot of strengthening so that you develop the IT band and your inner thigh muscles stronger, so that this pain will reduce and will further investigate it. But due to this COVID period, we are not able to do any kind of a scan or ultrasound, whatever, CT scans, MRIs. I'm not able to go ahead and proceed doing those investigations. But I just want to understand, proceeding in this direction, is it safe?
See, the therapy is safe, but let me tell you, you should go for acupuncture treatment, proper
Okay.
acupuncture along with cupping therapy. You need that therapy. Okay, cupping
Okay.
and someone who is very well versed with both of the therapies, where to use when. Okay,
Okay.
you are very
Okay.
well versed with it. If you have reached to someone,
I have used acupuncture for my
Ah.
back pain and a few other health issues in maybe just 5-6 years back. But this pain is too
This is
acute,
what
sir,
I'm
which
telling
is
you. Na. See, this is what I'm telling you. Where to use which therapy? Now, cupping has its own role. It is to be used
okay.
something very extreme. Now, your case is like very extreme. You are at a 6th stage. Okay. So those
Okay.
patients
Okay.
required not only acupuncture, then they'll be requiring some exercises. They'll be requiring some cupping therapy also. They'll be requiring ultrasonic also, as and when
Okay.
needed. Definitely depends.
So
Now,
with
if
this,
you will be needing some
whatever
tests.
treatment, sorry, sir, sorry to interrupt you. Will the treatments which you are suggesting will rule out any, in case if they ask for a surgery, will that cure the surgery purpose?
I'm telling you, they'll suggest surgery. I'm telling you.
No,
I'm telling
okay,
you
that is the
because
uttermost
five
thing.
finger
Yeah.
gap is surgery, but patient comes to me, those who don't
Hmm.
want to undergo surgery. Let me tell you.
Okay, that's
Now let's
yes.
tell you the basics of it. What happens in a knee problem? Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Most of the patient can avoid knee surgery. I'm telling you, more than 90% of the patient, they don't need knee surgery. They can
Okay.
only be corrected by just restructuring or rearranging the structure of the muscles itself. Now, this is very,
Great.
I'm not able to show you anything. And
Okay.
I'm not able to show you anything like on X-ray, I would be able to show you better. But when those muscles now, your knee gets into its original place where it used to be. Then the second thing is there are some internal factors also due to which this change has occurred.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
So if you are going to acupuncture treatment and
I haven't started
this is
yet
correct.
due
Let me
to
complete.
pandemic. Yeah. Yeah.
This is correct. And
Huh.
that person that so those points will treat your knee as well as your internal problems as well.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So what happens in
Okay.
surgery? Let me tell you. What happens in
Huh.
surgery? A doctor performs a knee surgery. They'll do everything in the knee. They'll not going to change anything in the muscle. That will be done by either by your exercises or a physiotherapy. Okay.
Okay.
But the problems always, if you see from acupuncture perspective, the problem always comes from the muscle itself.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay, so we are treating what we are treating. We are treating knee, not the muscle in allopathy. Okay, and
Yes.
that is why more than 90% of the patients can be treated by acupuncture treatment. But yes, it takes a time. It will take time. It does take around 4 months of time to 6 months of time. You need a rigorous treatment for that. But I have treated
Okay.
cases and they they are able to live normally. But
Now
we are
move on to
saying
the next person.
follow
That
Okay.
is Mr. Casey. I am not able to
Thank you
read your
so much,
name.
sir.
Casey.
I would like to talk to you in person. Can you share me your number, please?
I'll share in my slides. Well, you can get my contact number from there.
Thank you
Casey,
so much.
please unmute.
Thank you for your
Please
time.
unmute yourself, Casey. I am not able to read your name. Casey, please unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
Lalita ma'am. So good evening, everyone, and much gratitude, Dr. Love, Ms. Sai Ram, and Joshi sir, and Lalita ma'am, all of you, for arranging this wonderful session. In the interest of time, I have a very, very quick question for Dr. Love. Dr. Love, I think you've very beautifully articulated your message with the entire logic behind the science and of course acupuncture part. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
My question is, you touched upon defensive chi points. Are you planning to cover the respective protocols in your upcoming sessions between tomorrow or day after?
See, tomorrow what we'll be doing is we'll be just applying what we have studied today through the examples. Okay, through these examples, we'll try to understand how different diseases or different situations we'll be comparing that. Now, if you are asking for protocols, see again, I'm telling you, don't rush for protocols. Try to make your own protocols. I have a very poor memory. Let me be very straightforward. I have a very poor memory. I'm not able to learn any protocol. I just always forget. So what I did, I just look at the patient, I diagnose him, and some points come to my mind. I just put those needles. So this
Sure.
is what a doctor should do. We are not like robots just remembering the protocols. Don't take it otherwise, because I believe in this way. We are doctors. We are there to diagnose a disease first. And I like to say ki go in a proper fashion. Okay, just study the physiology first. Why? What is the normal functioning of the body first? As we study, and I study in my medical college, they teach us first the physiology, how the normal body functions. Then they teach you the pathophysiology of a problem, and how the disease, what happens in a disease, how the body reacts to it, and then they'll treat you how to diagnose, what investigations you should. So there is a similarly a phase, there's a similarly path can be chosen in acupuncture also. Points are like the treatment are like the last part of it. Definitely you should know the point, that's for sure. Protocols should be, because they'll help you to in understanding how these protocols are made. But again, no protocol, see, in acupuncture diagnosis, when I'll teach you, no two patient will look similar to you. Everyone will have his own different kind set of symptoms. The diagnosis will be different. The way to look at the things will be different. Suppose two people come with a migraine. Okay. So both of the patient will have a totally different acupuncture diagnosis. In terms of acupuncture, if you ask me, both the patients will have a different diagnosis. There are the chances of it. But if you go medically, they'll say migraine. And now migraine is like untreatable disease. I have successfully treated so many patients, migraine. If patient is adjusting their lifestyle, it won't come back.
Sure.
So,
no, I understand your
this is
complete.
part of it, please. This is what I want to share. Try to understand. If you want to be a very good clinician, you want to take your practice to the next level, if you want this therapy to grow, you need to have a command over you. We need to think like an allopath, how they are doing, how we go very unprofessional way. Please don't take it otherwise, but it's a very unprofessional way. You straight away, you are going for the treatment. You are studying the treatment. So don't, you study it, but you on the same side, you try to understand what they are the logic behind the treatment. It's not only the point will work, point will always work. ST36 is anyhow going to work. But if your diagnosis is correct and you put up, I say 5 points, something, now patient will feel that Doctor, something as out of the world has happened. This should be the experience of the patients, not only by putting the needles. Daily we are putting the needles. The experience should be at that level. So this can be achieved only, this refinement can only happen when you study it in a proper fashion and you start making your own protocols, because every patient is a different patient. Not every protocol will suit all the patient. The protocols which we make is like a general thing. Okay.
Sure. No, I have a very small checkpoint here. I would not put it as a question. Is there a terminology, which I've heard recently somewhere? Is there, and a follow-up to what Ms. Seema asked you, is there a terminology lung yin deficiency?
Yes, there is.
Acupuncture world? Okay, sure.
Yes,
so maybe
this is a pathology where the yin in the lungs get very low, and there will be symptoms related. I'll give you a hint tomorrow. Sure. That what symptoms comes of, I'll give you a fair idea how through the symptoms you can get a broad perspective of whether it's a yin deficiency or a yang excess. Okay, most of the confusions are there only, yang excess and yin deficiency. I'll tell you these things tomorrow.
Sure.
So yes, there is a term like lung yin deficiency.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's about it. I think there are more people waiting for you.
Now the chance goes to Ravi Chandran. Ravi Chandran? Now you can talk. Ravi Chandran, can you hear me? Hello, Ravi Chandran. Sometimes he's not talking, otherwise he got some data problem.
Okay.
Anyway, he was the last person, so there is no more questions. And now we can wind up the session for the day. And tomorrow we will continue the same session with the 4 principles of yin yang, and which is practically applicable to our cases. And participants, kindly you have to focus on the subject he is delivering. And for the problems for the consultation, you have to contact him personally. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Love Kataria, for giving such a wonderful session with so simple examples. It was a very nice session. Thank you. And we will wait for the tomorrow's session. Thank you. Thank you and good night all. Thank you. Sai Kumar sir is introducing you to our group. So we will be thankful to Sai Kumar sir.